this cannot be all that you have. Is there other stuff that you just have not shown?
He has a baby by a woman that was dating Tupac.
Wow.
To add to it, but we had to cut it down.
For 30 years, the world has been waiting for the truth. We thought we knew the story of Tupac and Biggie. We thought it was just a war between the East Coast and the West Coast, but we were wrong. 50 Cent has just changed everything. With his new Netflix documentary, The Reckoning, he is not just telling a story. He is exposing a secret history that was hidden in plain sight. From ghostwritten confessions to hidden bounties and a twisted obsession with the rival's girlfriend, the real story is much darker than you ever imagined. The ghostwriter's trap. You have to go back to 2001. Diddy was on top of the world. He had the money, the fame, and the hits. One of his biggest songs back then was a track called Let's Get It. You probably remember the beat. You probably remember the video where Diddy is dancing and looking like he runs the city. But there is a secret about that song that nobody knew until now. 50 Cent recently went on television and dropped a bomb. He revealed that he wrote Diddy's verses for that song. Now, in the music business, people write songs for other people all the time. That is not the crazy part. The crazy part is what 50 Cent wrote. He says he tricked Diddy into rapping a confession. Imagine you are in the studio. You are writing words for your boss, but you know his secrets. So you put those secrets into the song, and you watch him rap them to the world. That is exactly what 50 Cent claims he did. Listen to the words Diddy says in that song. He raps about shootouts coastal. He says, "I wasn't around, but I was like East Coast, West Coast. For over 20 years, we just bobbed our heads to that. We thought it was just Diddy bragging about being famous in New York and Los Angeles. But 50 Cent says no. He says that line was a specific reference to the murders by having Diddy say he was like East Coast, West Coast. 50 Cent claims Diddy was admitting he was involved in the violence on both sides of the country. He was admitting he had reach. He was admitting he funded the drama. And the wildest part is that Diddy didn't even realize it. He just thought it sounded cool. Then there's another line. Diddy raps, "Send the cops, the DA, and the feds to come get me." Think about where we are today. Diddy is sitting in a federal prison cell. 50 Cent calls this a subconscious confession. He wrote the words that predicted Diddy's future. It is like he planted a seed 20 years ago, waiting for it to grow. Diddy was screaming, "Come get me," to the police on a platinum record, and he didn't even know it was a trap. 50 Cent talked about this on the Sherry Shepherd show. He laughed about it. He said it was hilarious that he made Diddy say those things. It shows you how 50 Cent operates. He isn't just a rapper. He is a master strategist. He plays the long game. And while Diddy was dancing in his shiny suits, 50 Cent was taking notes and writing the lyrics that would come back to haunt him 2 decades later. The Conquest of Sarah Chapman. But the lyrics are just the beginning. There is a much more personal secret that 50 Cent wanted to put in the documentary. He says Netflix made him cut it out because it was too long, but he refused to keep it quiet. It is about a woman named Sarah Chapman. Most people only know Sarah Chapman as the mother of Diddy's daughter, Chance Combs. Chance was born in 2006, but Sarah had a life before Diddy, and that life involved Tupac Shakur. In 1995, Tupac was fresh out of prison. He was the biggest star in the world, and he was the face of Death Row Records. During this time, he was dating Sarah Chapman. There are photos of them together in Las Vegas. They look happy. They are smiling. This wasn't a secret back then, but over time, people forgot. 50 Cent did not forget. In his recent interviews, 50 Cent explained why this matters. He says Diddy did not just fall in love with Sarah Chapman by accident. He claims it was a conquest. He says Diddy has a sick need to take things that belong to his rivals. Tupac was his biggest enemy. Tupac had humiliated him in songs and interviews. So, according to 50 Cent, when Tupac died, Diddy went after the woman Tupac loved. 50 Cent said it clearly. He chooses to date people whom he knows previously dated someone. He has a baby by a woman who was dating Tupac. Think about the psychology of that. It is twisted. It is about power. It suggests that Diddy wanted to prove he was the better man, the winner. By having a child with Sarah Chapman, he was taking something that Tupac could never have. He was cementing his victory. This detail paints a picture of a man who is obsessed. He couldn't just beat Tupac on the charts. He couldn't just be richer than him. He had to possess his life. He had to step into his shoes. It is a level of pettiness and control that is hard to wrap your head around. And 50 Cent says this is the key to understanding who Diddy really is. He is not just a businessman. He is a man who treats people like trophies. The setup in Vegas. To understand how this rivalry turned deadly, we have to go back to the night it all fell apart. September 7th, 1996, Las Vegas. The city was packed. Everyone who was anyone was there for the Mike Tyson fight. Tyson was fighting Bruce Seldon at the MGM Grand. Tupac was there with Suge Knight, the boss of Death Row Records. They were sitting in the front row, feeling untouchable. Tyson won the fight in less than 2 minutes. It was a quick knockout. The energy in the building was sky high. Tupac was jumping around, hugging Tyson. He was hyped. But trouble was waiting in the lobby. As Tupac and his crew were leaving the fight, one of his friends saw a man standing near the elevators. That man was Orlando Anderson. Orlando was a member of the Southside Compton Crips. He was a rival. A few months earlier, Orlando and his crew had allegedly robbed one of Tupac's friends at a mall in California. They snatched a death row chain. In the gang world, taking a chain is a massive act of disrespect. It is like taking a soldier's flag. So when Tupac's friend pointed Orlando out, Tupac didn't hesitate. He didn't wait for his bodyguards. He walked right up to Orlando and asked him a question that every gang member knows. "You from the South?" Orlando didn't even get a chance to answer. Tupac punched him in the face. Orlando went down, and then the whole death row crew jumped in. Suge Knight was there, helping to kick him. It was a beatdown. It happened right on the casino floor, in front of tourists and cameras. Security guards broke it up, but the damage was done. Tupac and Suge left the hotel thinking they had just handled business. They didn't know they had just started a war that would end their lives. Tupac went back to his hotel room at the Luxor to change. He was excited. He told his fiancée, Kadada Jones, to stay upstairs. He said he was going to a club called 662 for a charity concert, and it might get rowdy. He put on a green basketball jersey and plenty of jewelry. He got into the passenger seat of Suge Knight's black BMW. They drove down the Las Vegas Strip. It was a convoy of luxury cars. The music was blasting. The windows were down. They were so loud that bicycle cops actually pulled them over. But the cops let them go with a warning. It was a strange moment of calm before the storm. At around 11:15 p.m., the BMW stopped at a red light. They were at the intersection of Flamingo Road and Colville Lane. The streets were busy. There were cars everywhere. To their left was a car full of women who were smiling and waving at Tupac. He stood up through the sunroof to talk to them. He was inviting them to the club. Then a white Cadillac rolled up on the right side. It moved slowly. It didn't screech to a halt. It just glided into position. The back window rolled down. There were no words exchanged, no warnings, just the barrel of a Glock, .30 caliber pistol sticking out of the window. 13 shots rang out. It wasn't like the movies where everything goes slow. It was fast and violent. 4 bullets hit Tupac. 2 hit him in the chest. 1 hit his arm. 1 hit his thigh. 1 of the bullets went through his lung. Suge Knight got hit in the head by a fragment of a bullet. The white Cadillac took off, disappearing into the traffic. Suge Knight, bleeding from his head, managed to pull the BMW into a U-turn, but the tires were blown out. He was driving on metal rims, sparks flying everywhere. He made it about a mile before the car gave out. Police arrived seconds later. Officer Chris Carroll was the first one to get to the car. He found Tupac covered in blood. He was trying to keep Tupac awake. He kept asking him, "Who shot you? Who did this?" Tupac looked at the officer. He was struggling to breathe. He took a deep breath, looked the cop in the eye, and whispered 2 words, "Fuck you." Those were his last words. He never snitched. He never gave up a name. He died 6 days. Later in the hospital, for years, the world thought this was just gang retaliation for the fight in the lobby. But now, we know there was money behind that white Cadillac. The $1 million bounty. The man in the passenger seat of that white Cadillac was Dwayne Davis, known on the streets as Keith D. He is the uncle of Orlando Anderson, the guy Tupac punched in the lobby. For a long time, Keith D was just a name in the rumors. But a few years ago, he started talking. He did interviews. He wrote a book. And what he said changed everything. In 2023, he was finally arrested and charged with Tupac's murder. But he says he wasn't working alone. He points the finger directly at Diddy. In police interviews that are a huge part of 50 Cent's documentary, Keith D lays out a shocking story. He claims that Diddy wasn't just a music executive. He claims Diddy was acting like a gang leader. According to Keith D, he had a meeting with Diddy in Anaheim, California. This was when the East Coast-West Coast feud was at its hottest. Tupac was releasing songs calling Diddy names. Suge Knight was threatening him. Diddy was scared and he was angry. Keith D says Diddy told a room full of Crips that he wanted them to handle the problem. He says Diddy explicitly said he wanted the heads of Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur. And he offered a price, $1 million. Think about that amount of money in 1996. It was a fortune. It was a bounty for a double assassination. Keith D says he agreed to the deal. He says they were already enemies with Tupac, but the money made it strictly business. Keith D also tells a story about a phone call. He says that after the shooting in Vegas, his phone rang. It was Diddy. He wasn't calling to ask if everyone was okay. He was calling to check on his investment. Keith D claims Diddy asked him, "Is that us?" And Keith D replied, "Yes." That conversation, if it is true, means Diddy knew about the hit. It means he confirmed it. It means he was involved in the murder of the biggest rapper in the world. But here's where it gets messy. Keefe D says he never got the check. He claims the money was supposed to go through a guy named Eric Zip Martin. Zip was a well-known drug dealer in New York who was very close to Diddy. He was the bridge between the boardroom and the street. Keefe D says Diddy paid Zip, but Zip kept the money. This unpaid debt is likely why Keefe D eventually turned on them. He felt cheated. He did the job, took the risk, and got nothing. Now, he is sitting in a cell in Nevada, and he is taking Diddy down with him. Prosecutors are using his interviews as evidence. They are looking at that $1 million offer as the motive for the crime. The bodyguard's warning. If the war had ended in Vegas, it would have been tragic enough, but it didn't end. 6 months later, the violence followed the music back to Los Angeles. And this time, the target was Biggie Smalls. It was March 9, 1997. Biggie was in LA to promote his new album, Life After Death. It was a scary time to be there. The West Coast was still mourning Tupac, and many people blamed Biggie and Diddy for his death. They wanted revenge. Biggie's security team was on high alert. One of the main guys protecting Diddy that night was a man named Gene Deal. Gene Deal has become a huge voice in this investigation recently. He was there, he saw everything, and he says he tried to stop it. On the night of the murder, there was a party at the Peterson Automotive Museum. It was hosted by Vibe magazine. It was supposed to be a celebration, but Gene Deal says he had a bad feeling. He warned Diddy. He told him the streets were talking. He told him it wasn't safe. He claims he even told Diddy, don't go to this party. But they went anyway. The party was packed. It was hot and loud. Gang members from the Bloods were in the crowd, staring them down. The fire department actually shut the party down early because of overcrowding. It was chaos. Biggie left the party around 12:30 a.m. He was sitting in the front passenger seat of a green GMC Suburban. He looked relaxed. He was playing his new music for his friends. Diddy was in a different car leading the convoy. Gene Deal was with Diddy. As they pulled out of the parking garage onto Fairfax Avenue, they hit a red light at Wilshire Boulevard. It was a busy corner. Cars were lined up. Gene Deal says he saw a dark Chevy Impala SS pull up. It wasn't a random car. He noticed the driver. He says the driver was a black man wearing a blue suit and a bow tie. He didn't look like a typical gangbanger. He looked professional. He looked like he was dressed for a Nation of Islam meeting. The man in the blue suit rolled down his window. He didn't say a word. He raised a 9mm blue steel pistol and aimed it at the green Suburban. He fired 4 shots. These weren't wild shots. They were precise. The final bullet hit Biggie in the hip and traveled through his vital organs. It was a fatal shot. The car sped off into the night. Biggie was rushed to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. Doctors cracked his chest open to try and massage his heart, but it was too late. The King of New York was gone. For years, people wondered who the man in the blue suit was. The police sketch looked like a man named Amir Muhammad, who was connected to a corrupt LAPD officer named David Mack. But there is another theory that links back to Suge Knight. Investigators believe Suge Knight ordered the hit from prison. He was angry about Tupac. He wanted an eye for an eye. The theory is that he hired a hitman named Wardell Poochie Faust. Poochie was a Mob Piru Blood member. He allegedly got paid $13,000 for the job. It was a small price compared to the $1 million for Tupac, but the result was the same. 50 Cent has always claimed that Diddy knows exactly who killed Biggie. In his song, The Bomb, 50 rapped, "Puffy knows who hit that?" He believes Diddy saw the shooter. He believes Diddy knows it. Was retaliation for the Tupac hit. But Diddy stayed silent. Why? Because if he admitted he knew why Biggie died, he would have to admit what he did to Tupac. It is a circle of violence where one lie protects another. The missing evidence. As if all of this wasn't enough, 50 Cent says there is even more that we haven't seen. He says the Netflix documentary is just the tip of the iceberg. Some tapes and stories are too dangerous or too graphic to show on TV. One of the biggest missing pieces is the story about Kid Cudi. In 2012, the rapper Kid Cudi had a car. It was parked in his driveway. Suddenly, it exploded. Someone had firebombed it. For years, nobody knew why. It was a mystery. But recently, Diddy's ex-girlfriend Cassie filed a lawsuit. In that lawsuit, she claimed Diddy was responsible for the bombing. She said Diddy was jealous because she was interested in Kid Cudi. Just like with Tupac and Sarah Chapman, Diddy allegedly used extreme violence to punish a rival over a woman. 50 Cent wanted this story in the documentary to show a pattern. He wants people to see that Diddy didn't stop being violent in the 90s. The violence continued for decades. Then there are the freak off tapes. These are the recordings Diddy allegedly made at his wild parties. 50 Cent says some of these tapes are in the hands of the feds. He hinted that they contain evidence of drugging and abuse that goes beyond anything we have heard. He says these tapes are the real reason Diddy is sitting in jail. They are the proof that his lifestyle was built on crimes, not just parties. And let's not forget the creepy gift. After 50 Cent announced he was making this documentary, he says he got a package from jail. It was from Diddy. 50 Cent didn't say exactly what was inside, but he called it creepy. It was a message. Even from behind bars, Diddy was trying to play mind games. He was trying to say, I am watching you, but 50 Cent wasn't scared. He just used it as more fuel for the fire. The reckoning. So, where does this leave us right now? It is December 2025. Diddy is currently serving a 50-month sentence. He was convicted on charges related to transportation for prostitution, though he was acquitted on some of the sex trafficking charges. But his legal troubles are far from over. The racketeering charges are still looming. The evidence about the murders is being looked at by grand juries. His empire has crumbled. The man who hosted the famous white parties in the Hamptons is now wearing a prison uniform. Keith D is still in a Las Vegas jail. His trial is set to begin in February 2026. He is the first person ever to be charged for Tupac's murder. If he takes the stand and testifies against Diddy, it could be the final nail in the coffin. He could officially link Diddy to the $1 million bounty. And 50 Cent? He is taking a victory lap. He calls himself the unlikely hero. For years, people thought he was just trolling Diddy on Instagram. They thought he was just making jokes. But he was right. He was telling us the truth the whole time. He was connecting the dots when nobody else wanted to. The story of Tupac and Biggie was always treated like a mystery, a tragedy with no answers. But when you look at the new evidence, the puzzle is solved. 50 Cent has pulled back the curtain. We have the lyrics that confess to the crimes. We have the secret baby that proved the obsession. We have the bodyguard who saw the killer, and we have the hitman who admits he was hired for $1 million. It wasn't just a rap war, it was a paid assassination orchestrated by ego and money. Diddy spent 30 years running from his past, hiding behind his sunglasses and his billions. But the past has finally caught up. The music has stopped, and the reckoning is here.